Welcome to episode 136 of the Reptile Gumbo podcast. Or as I'm just going to call it the Carousel of Co-host podcast.
Yay.
Robert,
I'll be here for next week, but the week after that, I have a meeting. I wasn't supposed to be here tonight.
But the week after that, I'll put out our episodes from Conroe.
Our meeting tonight got canceled.
So that's where Jules, Dax.
Fun.
So that'll be a good interview. So that'll come out. But that'll come out. We'll put out that episode.
Halloween
interviews.
week.
Halloween week. There we go. But filling in tonight is Ashley Howdy of Focus Cubed Composers. Oh, and I see a Steven in the background.
Oh,
I saw him. Oh my God, there he is.
I'm actually quite surprised.
But Robert couldn't be here. He had another work emergency, but that's fine because I'm sure he is super happy because the fucking Astros won their game tonight.
That was a killer way to win it, too. Holy cow.
And the Braves lost their first game.
It's okay. It's just game one.
So, but we have the Howdies again. We're just teaching the Howdies how to do a podcast since they got to get their podcast.
I don't know that we're the people to base it off of.
That's true.
We might be teaching them what not to do.
Just forcing Steven to get used to it since he now knows he's a co-host.
I mean, that's a part of life. I don't know what to tell you on that one.
It's a marriage thing, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel your pain every step of the way.
But we want to get our sponsor stuff out of the way?
Sure.
Go, Katie.
If you're looking for a high quality PVC rack, look no further than Lone Star Reptile Racks. They offer a variety of sizes for all types of snakes, geckos, rats, and more. You can even order something custom. Shipping is available, or you can plan to pick up at a Herps Reptile show near you. Visit lsreptileracks.com to reach out to Lone Star Reptile Racks and place your order today.
Yeah. Father Robert. Send him emails, messages at like 1 a.m.
No.
Asking him to answer back within 5 minutes and get upset when he doesn't. Definitely do that.
So I had a parent text me this morning.
You tell him to fuck off?
Literally in the middle of class. And I didn't see the message until my break at 1 o'clock.
They get upset?
They were so mad at me that I didn't call them back. I said, I'm sorry. I was in the middle of teaching class to your child. No, I return phone calls on
You need to stop your day. It's not like you do anything at work. You're just a babysitter. That's all teachers are.
Babysitter, apparently.
That's all the parents think we are. So.
Anyways, Herp shows.
Herp shows. Here we go.
You know the list, or you got?
I got to pull up in front of me. The next Herp show is Waco. It's this weekend, October 15th and 16th in Waco, Texas. I think this is the first Waco Herp show. So make your way out there to that. I know Robert will be at that one. Then November 5th and 6th is the Lafayette, Louisiana show. We will be at that one.
Yep.
So come out and see us. Then there's the Pearland, Texas show, November 12th and 13th.
Super pumped about that.
Get to sleep in my own bedroom. That's going to be great. Austin, Texas, December 3rd and 4th. Slidell, Louisiana is the last one of the year, December 10th and 11th. And then the year starts over in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, January 14th, 15th. Longview, Texas, January 21st, 22nd. And Conroe, January 28th, 29th, which is my birthday weekend.
And I have like 3 other things that weekend. So I need no one else to plan anything that weekend.
Yeah.
It's craziness.
And then the Howdies computer is yelling at me.
Oh, I thought that was yours.
That's not my computer. That's the Howdies. They're loud ass.
Normally your computer goes off, but I think only we hear it.
Only we hear it. I don't think
anybody else hears it.
I hope not. No one said anything. It's not like Chris Eaton where I can hear every message he gets.
Oh, I've never paid attention.
I can hear it. It dings every time he gets a message. And then our other sponsor, Wiregrass Exotics over in Ozark, Alabama. If you're in that area, go by and see them for all your reptile needs, all your feeders and everything in Ozark, Alabama. I think we got all of our sponsors. Oh, and again, if you want to save 15% on your order from Viv Tech products, use code GUMBO22 and save 15% on those awesome LED UVB light bulbs, which we need to get some more. We got to get some more of those. So, yeah, y'all want to say anything? Ashley, Steven, throw out any. You can throw out yours.
You've been busy. How is your
What? Words?
We don't know.
How is your
We're not
pause?
sure.
Well, no, but you posted it on your personal Facebook. I feel like we can bring this up. How's your tailbone?
Whoa.
Very bruised, very dark,
Yeah.
very black.
Wait,
God.
which one of y'all?
Ashley
Oh,
fell.
okay. I missed that one.
Yeah, I fell on some rocks, and rocks are not conducive to happy tailbones.
No.
You know what? Get over it.
I'm here. I'm sitting. So
I was about to say.
Steven, kiss it and make it better.
You're rocking it out, girl. Let's
Are
bring
you,
in our
please,
guest.
please tell me you're sitting on one of those inflatable rubber donut or plastic donuts.
I have been given one of those in my life, yes, by a joke at when I used to work for an actual, job.
See, what's you had an actual job?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
you
one
don't
of
work
those
now, so.
I don't feel like I have an actual job, and I put in way
Oh,
more.
I
than 40
totally
hours
feel like
this
I have an actual job, and it drives me nuts. Anyways, you got anything else, Katie? Before we bring in our guest?
No, I just said we should bring in our guest.
Okay, we'll bring in our guest. Our guest, it's an international guest.
I know you've been pumped about this.
It's your
for a
first
week.
it's your first international. I've had one other international guest. This is your first international guest.
I know.
So let's bring him in. Maybe. It's Luke
Hello.
from Lizard Morphs. How's it going, Luke?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So I'm guessing your accent is Spanish,
Oh my god.
French,
I'll draw on his face with a blue marker.
Ugandan.
I am from Melbourne, Australia.
I've never heard of it.
What is the time difference there? Like, what time is it where you are right now?
Tomorrow.
So I'm ahead of you. I'm in the future. So it's 11:06 a.m. on Wednesday.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
That's
pretty
so
cool.
fun.
So see, I don't know why people don't just go ahead and ask him what happened in the stock market today, and then we could just go ahead and
That
make
is
money that
not
way.
at all.
Let's see your
how it's
toilet. Go flush it.
Spins the other way.
Ah.
Does it
Prove
really,
it.
or are you just
Yeah,
kidding?
it's the southern
I
hemisphere.
didn't know that was real. I thought people were always just trying to make fun of me.
No, the
Is
southern.
that real?
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
the southern hemisphere goes.
Ugh.
Really?
Yeah, look, as gullible as I am, and you know this for a fact.
And you're a teacher.
You know this for a fact. I only believe half of what people actually tell me because I will believe everything. It's a problem.
Our toilets don't have as much water in them as an American toilet.
Yeah,
Probably
So I don't know if we should be talking about toilets, but American
Go for
toilets have got like a lot more water like in them when you start, but ours have only got a tiny bit. So
you
doesn't
probably
really
only need
work.
a little bit.
yeah, it doesn't really work the same.
Which
Like when
food?
when I was in America, there's quite a lot of water in the bottom of the toilet, but ours
Yes.
is not like that at all.
Well, we got a lot of shit.
Yeah.
We really got to get that stuff down there.
So,
Oh my god.
Sorry.
so yeah. But anyway,
It's all
if you want
Steven's
to talk
fault.
about- I can tell you more about toilets, but that's not really.
Very interested in the Australian toilets.
Learn something every day.
No, I already knew
And
this.
yes,
You know,
Darren Watson,
no,
I
you
know
only
I'm a
learned-
teacher.
You only learn something every day. The rest of us knew this.
Look, I have been with you for almost 18 years.
And I tried to make you smarter.
And I really don't know what you're telling me is true. And I don't know if what you're
I
telling
speak
me
nothing
is
but facts.
just to mess with me. I still don't.
I have a question. I have a question for Luke because and I'll explain why this is a question.
No.
All right, Luke. No, it's not for you.
Okay.
I want to know how you pronounce a word. So, like cowboys, they have a rope that they swirl around and catch cows with. What do you call that rope?
A lasso?
Okay. So I said that today in my class. I said like a lasso, and my kids go, "It's a lasso." I'm
It's
like,
a
"Yeah,
lasso."
it's the same.
I've never heard it pronounced lasso.
British and
before.
Australian, it's lasso, and I knew that was a word. And I knew when I said it, I'm like, "That's," and then they just
Why
questioned
did
me,
you
and I'm
say
like,
it that way?
because I also write gray both ways. I write gray the British way and the American way. I don't know which one's which actually because I write both.
G-R-A-Y. That's how we do it.
All
I
right,
thought it was EY.
it's both.
It is both.
I write it both ways.
Oh.
Maybe that's because of that year I spent as a kid in England.
You were 5.
But that's when I learned to.
That was so long
That
ago.
was so long ago. That was so long ago.
You're pushing 40, man.
Shut the fuck up. That means you are too. You're only a year younger than me.
My 3rd graders keep me young. What can I say?
No, high school kids do not keep me young. They make me want to kill children.
God.
But yeah, I said it and they questioned me, and I'm like, I know I'm not wrong. But I figured we were having Luke on. And that was gonna be a great time to make sure I was right. I was right. Okay.
Yeah. No,
If
lasso.
something is diagonal from you, do you have a word that you use for that?
Like if you're in a room and something is in
Actually,
the opposite,
Steven can weigh in on
and
this
something
too.
is in the opposite corner of the room, what is it to you?
Is that your phone?
It is my phone.
I'm not sure. Tell me what word you use, and
All right, so there's two ways that we
There's
go
a
here.
correct way and a wrong way.
There is catty corner to you and kitty corner.
No, we don't use either of those.
Neither one is it. Actually, it's not kitty corner.
We've discovered we have some friends of ours that live up north, like in North
say
Alabama.
opposite.
North Alabama.
We
The
do that.
opposite, yes. But they live in like northern the United States and they say kitty corner.
And they're wrong.
And I'm like, I've never heard that in my whole life. It's Catty
And-
Corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny. Anyways,
That's
we
a
can get
strange
to
one
like
for me.
reptile stuff now. These 8 people that are listening and watching are like,
I'm very interested in
wrong with these people?
how different Australia is. And we're going to get to some of that because I want to talk about Australian keeping at some point. And we're going to talk about some other things. So, but first, let's introduce Luke. Luke, tell everybody what you keep.
Yes. So our page on social media is called Lizard Morphs. So obviously we keep lizards. So I started with breeding and keeping blue tongue skink mutations. My wife does bearded dragon mutations, and then we also keep lace monitors, Gillen's monitors, a few different types of frogs, and my daughter breeds stick insects.
Stick insects.
cool.
That is
The big ones, you know.
Wait.
What?
They come in different sizes.
Stick insect? We have different sizes. What are you talking about? My God.
Yeah,
Look,
so
we
we
bred-
breed. She
Go ahead.
breeds spiny leaf, which are like the little brown ones. Oh, they still get pretty big, like bigger than my hand as an adult, but they look like a brown leaf. And then she also breeds Goliath ones, which are long, skinny, and green, and they're about that long.
So we have
It's wicked looking.
Yeah, but we have some long green. I've shown you pictures of them when we lived in Louisiana. I found the huge green ones that were like a foot long.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But then we also have ones over here, what we call spitting devils, that you always tend to see in pairs. Like the female's big and the little male's on. They can spit like this nasty stuff out at you. Those are the smaller ones.
So we were making connections in nonfiction today, and we read Who Would Win. If our listeners out there are not familiar with this series of books, I highly recommend it. But we were reading Tarantula versus Scorpion. And there are over 1,500 different species of scorpion.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You're on an animal podcast.
I know.
I need you to.
I know.
It's really cool how their claws and their tail like are different. We
Yeah.
have a scorpion, and he's got big claws but a small tail.
We
So-
did not finish the book, so I don't know who would win between the two.
I'm going scorpion.
Well, they were going with
I don't know.
the scorpion they picked was like the Death Stalker scorpion.
Yeah, those are cool little ones.
And then the Goliath bird-eating
Well,
tarantula.
that's not fair.
And I'm like, that tarantula literally can be as big as my foot because I wear Gigantor shoes. I
That's
mean,
the size dichotomy right there.
Yeah, that's. I mean, granted, there is the venom in the death, but that's still that is a huge size difference.
yeah, it's crazy. Okay,
Anyways,
anyways, I'm so sorry.
Back to. So. Back to what Luke, we got the stick bugs and we got the spiders. All right, so we know that you don't keep corn snakes or boas or ball pythons or anything else because you live in Australia.
Yeah, so we can only keep Australian species. No exotics in Australia, unfortunately. So, I mean, look, that's good and bad, I guess. We don't want to turn into Florida, I guess, with every species of reptile from all around the world loose. But so that's why we don't have exotics, I guess. But it's a
Except for
shame
the
that we
cane
can't-
toad.
Yes, except for stuff we let out ourselves. We let out rabbits because they'd be fun to shoot. Then we let out foxes to
Foxes.
try and get the rabbits. And then, made some poor decisions. But yes, so only Australian reptiles is all we're allowed to keep. But that is still great because Australia has some of the most desirable, coolest reptiles going. So that's not too bad. I don't keep any snakes. I know you guys are snake people, but I don't keep any snakes.
I like the lizards.
I like snakes, but
Things with legs are cool.
I know.
yeah, I think the legs, they've got more. I mean, the lizards are a bit more like having a dog, like, all depends on the species, but they've got a bit more, they're a bit more interactive. They've got a bit more personality than a snake from what I've observed, as a
Lot more
non-snake
work.
keeper.
Yes.
More work.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So they like shitting and then doing finger paintings. That's a popular pastime. Very popular pastime of the blue tongue skink. So that's fun. That's fun.
So I'm going to ask a question that a lot of you are going to make fun of me for.
You got talking to the mic though when you do it.
So do not make fun of me.
Don't worry, I will.
Obviously you have a lot of the stuff that you need or you would want right there in Australia. Do you guys do import export? Like, what are the? I knew that.
We just had that come. They can't.
No.
I know nothing can come in, but do
That'll
they
be
ship
import.
stuff out?
No, so
Yeah.
the only way it goes out, so there's the only legal exploitation would be within the zoo field.
Gotcha.
And then like if you want a hypermelanistic blue tongue skink like what I have, someone shoved it in a sock inside a Pringles can and probably sent it. That's about the only way you're getting anything,
through the Magic Germany portal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
So
Magic Germany portal gets them all here.
I mean, you hear rumors about people that have done export, like have smuggled.
I've read books about stuff like that. Yeah.
But I
Shut
don't
up,
know.
Sam. Nobody asked your opinion.
That was the chat. Now that
Sorry.
no one can see that because
I'm sorry. I forget.
This is an audio thing.
I could see.
Yelling at the.
That's my father-in-law. I'm allowed to yell at him.
So no import or export that's legal. I think that is a bit of a shame. I understand the import part, but I think the export part, if the Australian government, licensed it, they could make money.
Just tax it. I mean, it's
just tax it. Make sure it's and even if they made it, obviously it needs to be only captive bred stuff. They won't do it because they're worried about the wild stuff. But albino blue tongues aren't just roaming around the wild, right?
Right.
So it's obviously a mutation. It's obviously captive bred, So a lot of the breeders in Australia, even if you made them pay a big fee, like say, okay, if you want an export license fee, it's $20,000 a year. Well, that would be doable for some of the bigger breeders in Australia. I'd certainly do that. But unfortunately, it's not. So we just sell within our community in Australia, and that's it. And it is probably good for my Instagram numbers, though, because you can't have the stuff I've got, so you have to follow me to look.
Personally, I would love to have a Parenti.
Yeah, so Parenti's obviously the biggest monitor in Australia. Parenti's not available in every state. So I'm down the bottom of Australia, which is the opposite to you. So at the bottom of Australia, it's colder, so because I'm closer to the Antarctic. So I'm like, if you're looking at the map of Australia, I'm like where Florida is, but that's the coldest part, not the warmest part. And so the least tropical and the coolest part. No Parenti's allowed in my state. But Parenti actually isn't the large monitor I wanted. I wanted lace monitors anyway, and lace monitors are actually a native in my state.
Those are so cool.
We're allowed to have those. So, that's cool. Yeah, so I've got lace. Yeah, the Australian Reptile Park in Sydney. When you go there, they walk the large Komodo dragons around on a lead around the park twice a day.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah. And my daughter did a day this year as a junior keeper there for the day. We went up there for her birthday, and she spent the day as a reptile keeper at the Australian Reptile Park in Sydney. And Jake, who's the head keeper there, who I know from social media and from the community, he let me walk one of the Komodos around the park on a lead. And I came home and bought 2 lace monitors. Like,
what do you do when the Komodo's like, no, I don't want to walk that direction? Like,
nah, they sort of walk you.
Yeah,
a little, No, they're very well behaved. The species of the subspecies of Komodo that they've got at the park are from one of the islands where they're a bit smaller, so they're not like, they sort of look like a big lace monitor. They're not they're not like, we walked the female around and then she's smaller again. The male Kraken is huge, but the girl's a bit smaller again. So she just looked like a slightly oversized lace monitor. She wasn't like ginormous, But it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, the monitors are sweet.
Yeah.
So I start talking monitors. Ashley gets excited.
Yeah. So I got two lace monitors. I've got a Bell's phase and a normal lace monitor. Pretty quick smart after that happened. Because a lace monitor is the closest genetically related reptile to a Komodo.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's the closest genetic monitor species to a Komodo is a lace. And if you look at the way they have their heads and all that, you can see it, I think. So they're sort of like a mini Komodo. So, so I've got 2.
That is so cool.
They're cool. I don't know.
love them.
I like in America people go crazy over Bell's phase lace monitors, and
Those are cool. Yeah, they're a really neat species. They're a little more skittish, I guess, than the waters, but they're gorgeous animals.
well, it's definitely a better option than a water monitor.
Oh no, sir.
Says you.
No, sir.
Says the cage you would need for it.
Says you.
They're more arboreal, I guess. But I mean, we have 4 waters in this house, so you know.
How big is your biggest water?
He's probably 6 foot.
But do you think the average person should buy a water monitor?
No.
Because that's how the price
or any monitor for that
but-
matter. Maybe the smaller ones.
But that's how they're priced at reptile shows, right? Not black dragons, obviously, but like import like Niles and waters that I don't know. I'm assuming they're still priced fairly cheap. They've always been.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to a good show, there's really not going to be a whole lot of that going on. But I mean, it's mostly the Savannahs are going to be the cheapest if you're going to look in the monitors.
Yeah, and then you get a horrible pet because it's a wild caught Savannah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I still think Savannahs would be great if people would captive breed them. But the problem is very few people do it, and then they're just so expensive because all the time you had to put into captive breeding a Savannah monitor. Whereas you could just buy a $20 wild caught one and have a horrible pet and wonder why it doesn't like you.
If it survives.
Yes, it didn't move like you watch them at some of these shows where they pick up this Savannah out of a tub with no heat light on it, and they go, "Look how calm it is." I'm like, "Yeah, get it at 130 degrees and get back to me."
They do that with snakes too, though, at shows. Like with a lot of the animals.
Yeah, but monitors are much easier to trick people with.
Oh.
Because they like it warmer. So when they put them at room temperature at a show, that is not the monitor. And you see that all the time. People think, "Oh, it's so nice and tame at a show." But then you get it home and you put it under the actual heat it's supposed to be under, and they're a completely different lizard. Whereas like with a snake, a ball python is a ball python. It can be 80 degrees in the room, or you can have it at 90 degrees or 70. It's a ball python. But anyways, I think monitor is cool. I like Kimberly Rock monitors. I really want a Kimberly Rock monitor.
I can't have them in my state either. That's another one that's not
Really?
allowed here.
Oh,
Yeah, so
really?
the licensing in each state is a little bit different. And yeah, like the 2 monitor species that aren't on license in my state that most people talk about and would like are the 2 you've mentioned, Parenti and Kimberly Rock.
Two
But
opposite ends
everything-
of the spectrum.
Yeah, but pretty much everything else we can have.
That's still really cool. You have the Gillini, right?
Yeah, so I've got Gillens. I've got Gillens. Yeah, so I've got some Gillens. They're pretty cool. Yeah, so Gillens are great. Pygmy mulga monitors, we call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, they're fun to keep. You can keep them as a group, and they just they're fun to watch. They're pretty active, and they're pretty crazy. Yeah. So.
How big do those get?
30 centimeters, like less than a foot.
Oh wow.
That's a good monitor.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
people over here love Ackies. That's the small one that gets everybody has here are Ackies.
Yeah, so but Ackies are more ground dwelling, and Ackies need a lot of substrate. They like to dig and all that. When the Gillens are more climbing, they'll go up and down. They like branches, less substrate. So for me, I just thought the Ackie was a pain in the ass, needing like, half a foot of dirt in the bottom of the enclosure. Like just, I like to keep my stuff pretty clean and tidy. And so the Ackie just throwing dirt around everywhere, I just didn't like the sound of that. So I went for Gillens instead.
Yeah.
Dirt is not the way to go.
I had a blue tail monitor that someone gave me once. I knew nothing about the damn thing. I never should have owned it, but I had this huge cage, and all it ever did was just dig giant tunnels in the ground and hide from me, and it never liked me. And it would get out every now and then and run around the house because it could just like bash against the cage door until it decided it was a bad situation. But I did have that. I did not like dirt.
The room that the cage was
Sounds
kept
like
in
shooting.
was an added on. It was like an enclosed back porch.
Yeah, so one wall was brick.
was brick.
They could climb up and run back and forth.
It would go bananas climbing around on that brick wall. It loved
Running full speed across
and
the
it was
brick
just
wall.
in the room, and it would just zoom back and forth, and
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Sounds great.
But that's one reason I want Kimberly Rocks. We talked to Mike.
Climb brick walls.
Well, we talked to Mike at Mike's monitors, and I've seen other monitors, and like they're cool. Like the cages I've seen them, they don't have a ton of soil. They like to climb. They give you that cool monitor look. Where Ackies to me don't give you that cool monitor look.
No, so Ackies look like a sausage.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a spiky sausage.
Yeah. So the Kimberleys are cool because they're pointy, you know.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean. You want it to look like a bit like a dinosaur.
Well, yeah.
Big eyes,
Australian
skinny
monitors.
head.
It looks like an Australian monitor. Like it's what I imagine.
Yeah. Big eyes and skinny head. When Aki's got a small head, small eyes, you know. I've got 40 blue tongues if I want a fat sausage.
I was about to say, yeah, the blue tongues are the sausage.
Yeah, so the Ackies for me weren't monitory enough. You know, that's why I went for Gillens first. Yeah.
So I know that in Australia, and again, it depends on where you live, but explain the permit system, because I know like in some places you have to get a permit before you can buy a snake, which is not a thing for us. Like we can go buy a corn snake without getting a permit or doing a whole process, but there's a process there to getting a snake.
Yeah, so each state is slightly different. But only slightly. So in Victoria, you need a basic wildlife license to own an Australian native animal. So you just apply for it online, and within a few weeks they send you a card. It's got your name and your card and your number, and you renew it every 12 months. You have to keep a record book and submit it once a year to tell them what you've got, like what you've bought, what you've sold, what's been bred, what's died, etc. I think they're just doing that to track that you're not taking stuff out of the wild. So where you bought it from, so they can check exchanges and stuff like that. But not all reptiles are on license in every state. So like for example, in Victoria, the Kimberley rock and the Parenti aren't on license here. We can't have them. But blue tongues aren't on license here either, but they're not on license here because you don't need a license for them. But in other states, you do have to have them on the license. So it can be a little bit complicated, but the basic intro reptile in Victoria that people would buy, like if you're getting into snakes, you would probably buy an Antaresia or a carpet python, and they're on basic license. If you're getting into lizards, you would probably buy a blue tongue or a bearded dragon. Blue tongues are no license required. Bearded dragons are on the basic license system. And then depending on the reptile, they're on a basic or an advanced license, which they just pay more money and you have to do a few things. You can upgrade to advanced license for like some reptiles are not on basic, Yeah.
See, every time I see some sort of license where it doesn't involve a test or some sort of thing, I just feel like it's a money grab. Every time I see a place do like, send us your money and we'll give you a license, and here's our money grab for you being able to own something.
Politics.
I think it's a little bit of that. I also think it's to stop people taking stuff out of the wild, so you don't go and snatch a baby lace monitor out of the wild and keep it as a pet.
Yeah,
you've got to have a license and have a transaction. Someone you bought it off who's got a license as well, who bred it. Like shingleback skinks.
Yeah,
they're on license, and they pair, like as in they become a husband and wife and they breed together every year. They're monogamous and they only have 1 or 2 babies a year, right? So the having them on license stops people pinching them from the wild all the time. I sort of get, because if we were pinching from the wild flat out, they're not breeding enough. Not like Eastern blue tongue breeds has 25 babies. Like there's tons of them, but the shingleback stuff like that they have a lower production rate. You don't want to be pinching them out of the wild all the time.
I don't know how much a shingleback costs here, but I feel like you could pretty much buy a house for what it would cost to get a pair of shinglebacks.
Well,
in the
and
US.
not only that, but if you're taking them out of the wild and they are monogamous, odds are you've just completely screwed up a breeding pair and they're not going to do anything in.
Yeah, but monogamous animals will still.
Will they eventually replace
if they lose a partner?
Maybe, yeah. I don't think it happened. Look, I don't know enough about them. It's not a species I keep, but they're hard to get them to. It's hard to get them to repair. I think very hard.
I know some animals, Like monogamous is not necessarily for life.
For a season.
It's just for a season. And so some animals, it's very easy
Like
to
everyone,
get them to repair.
everyone always wants to have these romantic stories about penguins, but they totally will fucking leave their partner and go to another partner.
Right,
Like,
after the season is over.
No one ever tells that story of when no, we're getting a divorce and going to go hang out with another penguin now. Like no one tells that story.
I think with shinglebacks it's for life, but
really,
I think so. Is from what I know, but again, it's not a species I keep. I did keep them. They were one of the first lizards I did keep, but yeah, they're not for me.
So Darren asked, how big of a deal is poaching in Australia?
Pretty big.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's not. I don't think in America, turtles. That's our big thing. And turtles is always everywhere. That's always a big issue. Is poaching. That's the only thing you ever see the law really get upset about people getting a ton of. But like, there's not much in America where we go and we take a ton of reptiles.
There's a lot of rules about tortoises.
Well, yeah, you can't have the gopher because those are all protected because of
but that's what I'm saying.
population
Like
numbers.
they're all protected now.
But as a turtle, that's what I'm saying. Everything is like turtle related. No, there's not any no one's worried about everybody going out and catching a bunch of corn snakes.
No, everyone is worried about it here. Poaching's a big deal. And that's why they have the license, so they can come around and go, hey, your book says you're meant to have 27 bearded dragons. You've got 47. Where did these come from? That's it. We're taking them all. That's the thing they are strict about.
Chris Eaton said, "Are Ashley and Steven's mics turned off and their screen frozen?" No, they're just politely sitting there, Chris.
They're soaking it all in.
Maybe they're not as rude as you, Chris.
I like talking about lizards and listening about lizards.
She's learning.
Oh, but
and you sponsor him.
That's true. Y'all are giving him money for him to talk shit about you.
Chris.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. We'll review some contracts.
Chris said, calm down, everyone.
The one thing I think is interesting about Australia and the United States when compared as far as like population and size, I was looking at this earlier just to double check. The U.S. is just roughly slightly bigger size-wise than Australia.
Yeah.
Population-wise, Australia is a fraction of the United States. And I think that gets lost a lot.
I think Australia's population is about the same as Chicago.
Yeah, I think I saw it was like 24, 25 million people total. Whereas like here, it's well over that. So
yeah, it's basically the population of a major city. We only live around the edges too. So very, very few people live anywhere near the middle. It's pretty uninhabitable, the middle. Like it's harsh. So people live there, but not a lot. So you'll find that most of the people in Australia live all around the edges.
Well, that's why I always find it very interesting when this is not a political thing, but when other countries criticize the U.S. for how we handle certain things legally, whether it be like the way with permits or the way we do things, like it's a lot more people. We're dealing with a lot more people when it comes to trying to legalize this or change this or do this permit system versus whereas another country has basically a state's population, one state's population. We have a giant country. So like in Australia, I think people don't understand how small the population really is in Australia because again, it's mostly outback. It's mostly desert.
Yes, there's a lot of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Which I want to go visit and see all the stuff and sweat my ass off.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot. It's hot even like where we are. We're the very, very southeast corner. So like I'm literally in the coldest state. But in the summer, it's still 40 degrees C. I don't know what that is for you.
That's
Google it. Hang on.
That's hot. Yeah.
It's like 104.
Yeah, that's hot.
It's Texas.
That's Texas. Yeah, you live in Texas.
Well, yeah,
but that's during. Pardon?
Are the flies really bad there?
Not really.
Okay.
No, not too. That's more in the tropical areas, so further north. So yeah, so like say we're 100 in the summer, and today, right now, it's raining outside. We're 59.
Okay. That's not bad.
So it's not freezing today. We get down to about 35.
Oh, Amanda Reddy from Reddy's.
I like Texas.
Amanda Reddy did some math for us.
Yeah.
She told us population of Australia is almost 26 million, 25.8, and then the U.S. is 332 million.
Mm-hmm.
So it is
So
a
less
different
than
place.
10%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So population wise, it's a lot smaller.
But I don't know. There's so many cool things. I think it's weird in Australia not being able to have. Is there no leftover exotic reptiles from before they put the ban in?
No.
Nothing. Man, I just figured. Hold on, Luke. Have you ever met Crocodile Dundee?
So just so he might not be aware of this, Crocodile Dundee's an actor, and walkabouts. Walkabouts. That's like it's not real either. But yeah, no, that's made up.
It's hilarious.
Speaking
of, we should totally let our kid watch. She's old enough to watch that movie.
Crocodile Dundee? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It's not factual in the slightest.
It's not
way.
at all, which is why she would love
movie.
it. She's gonna pick it apart the whole time she watches.
I mean, I guess the good thing in that movie is at least they
Stuff
picked
like
an
that.
actual Australian to play an Australian.
Yeah.
So whenever I watch stuff that's like it's American shows, and then I see them in an interview and they always have a British accent, I'm like, what the fuck? Do we not have any American actors that can play Americans? The entire cast of The Walking Dead is fucking British.
Yeah,
Every time I see a interview, I'm like, what is this mess?
it's funny.
He said he's been lied to his whole life. Yes, Crocodile Dundee is so sorry, but at least you now know what a knife is.
And like Steve, we love Steve Irwin, but Steve Irwin is not exactly normal Australia. You know what I mean? Like that's,
he
like,
was not normal anything.
He's that's out there. That's really out there. It's also very far, very very far north Australia.
Yeah. So how is I am curious about that. Is he well, or was he, I guess, well accepted in Australia for what he did?
Oh yeah.
I wondered how so we talked about
That would break your heart if he would have said no right now.
No, I would just say fuck Australia.
No, we love Steve Irwin. Yeah, I was gonna say we love the Irwins. I don't know if we love all the Irwins, but we love Steve.
I love his son.
Yeah.
His son looks just like a carbon copy of him.
His son's cool. Yeah, his son's great.
It's like you got a whole nother version of him. But I got into an argument. There was a free handling video that I was on floating around Facebook this week of one of the dumbasses we have in Florida. And I said something negative about it. And of course, one of the bros that supports him had to come out and call me out about how I don't know anything. I'm like, dude,
Is this on Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh
I was
Lord.
like, dude, I've been a zookeeper. I've handled venomous snakes with the proper tools. I think I know what I'm talking about. And he told me I don't have basically the testicular fortitude for free handling. I'm like, no, I'm just smarter. And then at some point he started to compare him to Steve Irwin. I was like, whoa. No.
But your friends make fun of you because you wear gloves when you handle certain snakes too.
I don't like
you
getting
don't
bit.
want to get bit.
I'm not a fan of getting bit. Fuck that. They can make fun of me all they want. I don't have scars all over my hands
This is true.
or fun pictures of me bleeding all
You
over the
have
place.
nice hands, babe.
And Ashley has animals that do nothing but scar her up.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people free handle here. Most people use a hook, I think, from what I see.
Yeah.
Most people here probably do, but the ones that everybody sees don't, because that's how social media works.
Yeah.
That's, the loudest voice is obviously the most expert. So
Yep.
that is a problem. Although the shit that I am amazed there at how many people. That's what I want to talk about is Australians' attitude towards wildlife, because I think it is drastically different than Americans' attitude towards our own wildlife.
Oh, absolutely.
Our as a snake person in the States, the number one thing we get tired of hearing is the only good snake's a dead snake. But I don't feel like that is the overall experience in Australia, is it?
No, not really. Look, people still value human life over animals' lives. So, there's a snake in my backyard, I'm going to kill it. But most snakes in Australia that you see in your backyard, anything that's moving rapidly is venomous, right? Like, if you see a carpet python, it's curled up in your chicken coop. It's had lunch and it's chilling out, right? If you see a snake moving rapidly in your backyard, it's venomous. So if you try and get it with a spade or a shovel, it's probably going to bite you and you'll probably die. So, so that's a good thing. We get rid of those people pretty quickly. So now most people now know, just call it snake catcher. There's lots of great snake catchers in all areas. So you don't hear of the cutting the snake's head off as much as you used to. So no, people do care about Australian wildlife, even the venomous stuff. So, it's pretty good.
Well, that's a huge thing. Like we don't have snake catchers here. We have people like our friend Megan or myself or Robert who will volunteer to go remove a snake if someone's willing to say, "Hey, I have this in my yard," and we'll go gladly remove it. But I've seen lots of stuff in Australia where like there's businesses around that, or
you have to be
South
licensed.
Africa and all.
Yeah. So my friend Colin, he lives in New South Wales. Me and him do like a live stream once a week or once a fortnight on Instagram together, and he's a Lake Macquarie snake catcher. So that's what he does as a side business.
That's
people
awesome.
People pay him. So they'll ring up and they'll say, "Oh, there's a black snake under my front porch," and he'll say, "Yeah, I know what that'll be. It's $100, so I don't know what they charge." And then out he goes and catches it.
See, that's the other reason that won't happen
content
here. People aren't going to be willing to pay. The minute you would tell somebody you'd have to pay to remove a snake, they go, "I'll just kill it. It's fine." And they would just kill it here.
Yeah, but you try and kill it in Australia too and probably die.
That is true.
So that's so
factual.
$100 or nine times out of 10 death. Yeah. Death. So yeah, because all of our snakes, our venomous snakes, if they bite you, they really do fuck you up.
Well, I always tell people when it comes to the U.S. really got the best. I mean, maybe Europe has a little bit easier, but when it comes to like things and animals and wildlife, we really got the sissies of everything. Like especially in the South. Like so, as far as bears go, we have black bears. And don't get me wrong, a black bear could definitely kill you, but it's a big pansy. You yell at it, it runs away scared. It's not a grizzly bear or a polar bear. Like we're good.
Well, and we went to Colorado, and if you got attacked by a black bear, we got a piece of paper that said to fight back, to punch it in the face. I'm like, this is insanity. If I get attacked by a bear, I'm going to square up. I'm out of there.
Yes, they give you a Shenandoah National Park. When we went through Skyline Drive, there was paperwork in the welcome center that was like, "This is what you do if you see a bear," and it was like, "Stand tall, make loud noises." I'm like, "Fucking run! What are you talking about?"
Square up and throw down. I'm like, what is going on in Colorado?
Let's always tell folks with bears, like, so as far as the bears go that we have, we got black bears. Just stand up and yell at it; they'll run away. Grizzly bear, they tell you to play dead and hopefully it will leave you alone. And I always tell folks, like, if it's a polar bear, you're fucked. It's just going to eat you. You're done.
You've become a seal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then, like, so as far as crocodilians go, we have alligators, and we all know that alligators are giant pussies. Like, and that's why we love them. They're puppy dogs with scales. We don't have 20-foot buses with teeth in them waiting out in the ocean just to eat you like Australia does. That's the northern part of Australia.
You don't swim.
Yeah.
There's parts of Australia where you do not swim.
Wow.
Like you do not swim.
I joined a Australian kayaking group. At one point, it was New South Wales. I didn't realize NSW when I joined it was New South Wales. But I did ask him because I lived in Louisiana. We had alligators, and I live in Texas now. And you kayak with alligators. It doesn't matter. But I asked him, I was like, "What do y'all do about the crocodiles?" Like, "Yeah, we don't kayak fish up there." I was like, that makes sense. It's bigger than the kayak, and it will eat you. I get that.
Elite the kayak.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw a saltwater croc was at St. Augustine Alligator Farm on our honeymoon in Florida, and I've never seen something that massive that could just kill you in a bite. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And because they're saltwater crocodiles too, they'll swim out of the river and go down the ocean, down the beach, and get you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks. No.
So like, and then when it comes to venomous snakes, all right. So we have the cottonmouth. Yes, its bite can harm you, but it literally opens its mouth and says, "Hey, don't mess with me," and it doesn't chase people. I don't care how many people they do. We have timber rattlesnakes, copperheads, and corals. Like, we don't really have horribly scary venomous snakes. And then when you think Australia, like, all right, well, like here. We're like 1 out of 10 snakes are probably dangerous. And then I think Australia, 9 out of 10 snakes are probably dangerous.
Yeah, they're all bad. I mean, like, yeah.
You gives you a little bit more respect for them, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, they'll hurt you. Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing. I would never. Oh, look, I've touched one venomous snake in the wild in my entire life, and it's because it had its head stuck in a beer can. You know, so it was stuck and couldn't get back out.
There
So I
was
like, okay.
no way it could get to you.
I think
Yeah,
if I was going to have to handle one of them in Australia, it would probably be like the red belly black snake. Because I think out of all of them, it's like the calmest of all the venomous snakes and the slower moving one.
Yeah. So like, you don't want to get like, like an inland taipan.
Fuck that.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
That's what a guy in the chat just was talking
That's
about.
one of those when it bites, you just go ahead and lay there
Chris,
and make peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chris Fry in the comments here, he lives up north, and so he lives where it's a lot warmer than where I live, and you're not messing around with the venomous snakes up there. No.
But then it's not even like the venomous, like when I think of Australia, I think there's an animal in every category, like ants. Yes, they have ants there that can cause horrible harm. Or spiders. They have spiders there that can cause horrible harm. I'm like,
spiders are bad.
Their ants are worse than our fire ants.
Oh, by far.
Those are
our spiders are bad too. But look, but you're making it like Australia's horrible. It's great.
No, I want to see all this stuff.
He does.
It doesn't bother me at all. I want to see it, but you have to have respect. You can't just like wander through Australia and be like, oh, I can just wander past everything. It'll be fine. Pick up whatever I want.
Okay. We've got mosquitoes in like 10 minutes down the road that have been discovered with West Nile. So, I mean, that's great. Did you not get that email?
No.
Oh.
I took my daughters across the road from our house. We've got like a nature reserve sort of thing. And me and my daughters hear a lot of frog noises, and my daughters are into frogs. I want to go over there and look, So we went over there the other night frogging, and we put boots on, we wear long pants. Like you have to be covered up because, if you step on, a red belly black, it whacks you. It's going to hurt, God. So, but we found lots of frogs. So
that's so cool.
Well, see, it's funny. You look at a red belly black snake and then you look at like our mud snake, and you would definitely think looking at our mud snake that it's a venomous snake because it's bright red and black and it looks like, but it's super harmless unless you're a salamander. But then like the red belly black snake looks fairly harmless. It's a solid black snake with a red belly, but that thing will definitely not be a good
that'll mess you up. Yeah, that'll mess you up for sure.
Crazy stuff.
So what do people over there, I know you can't have anything outside of Australia, but like are there people like things that people are like, oh, I wish we could have that one thing? Is there just something that everybody agrees? Because like are corn snakes a big thing over there? Like people just really want corn snakes, but they can't have them.
I haven't heard of people being desperate for a corn snake. But I think people would like tortoises. We don't have any. We don't have any tortoise here.
That does suck.
So we have turtles, but we don't have tortoise. So everything we've got is aquatic, is water. We don't have any. But we don't have no, sulcatas or galaps or that sort of land tortoise. Or are they redfoots? Are they're land ones as well, aren't they? Yeah. We don't have anything like that. So we don't have any like lawnmowers like that.
That's so
We've
sad.
just got everything has to be in water. So I think people would like tortoises. I think that would be a thing people would desire. I know recently I saw a guy got raided, and he said it was an albino carpet python, but it was a 12-foot berm,
They're so similar.
He said, "Oh no, that's just an albino carpet python. I've got that on my license."
No,
I just feed it a lot.
Yeah, I want to see the guy looking at his clipboard like something is wrong here.
Yeah. So no, it was an albino berm. It was in my state actually.
Oh my
It was in the newspaper.
So
I was just about to say, so when stuff like this happens, do you guys just have like, is it in the news? Is it on like, because in America, I feel like it's all over social media. Is it?
Yeah, it gets in the news a bit. Yeah, I guess so. But it was pretty funny. But yeah. The other thing, someone else said it in the comments about, can you have a panther chameleon? People in Australia would love chameleons, but we don't have any chameleons either. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I
would imagine though
I think there are ball pythons, chameleons. There are a few of those things in Australia, but people have them like in their basement.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen one in Australia, but I've heard stories of people having them. but I don't know those people either. You know,
It's hard to think that ball pythons have not made their way to Australia somewhere.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've heard stories about, oh yeah, there's a guy who breeds them, you know, and films them and then pretends like he's in America, you know, something. But, I don't actually know if that's true.
I do not have the guts to.
But
do
yeah,
something like that.
I've only seen, native stuff. That's all I've been exposed to personally. But maybe I'm friends with the wrong people. I don't know.
You don't have the shade. You need more shade.
I don't know that you need that kind of shade in your life.
I do wonder though, are the law enforcement for your wildlife and all, I've got to imagine they are far more up to date and understanding of the animals that are there versus like ours. Like when a wildlife and fisheries guy shows up to one of our houses to find animals, they have no idea what our snakes and lizards are.
I've heard a few different stories about that. I think that guy that I talked about with the albino berm, I think he'd gotten away with it a few times saying it was an albino carpet until someone
knew
carpet. Like he'd had a couple of inspections and like, oh no, that's not a berm. But I don't know when it actually became yeah. Oh, Colin, it's on Facebook. You just commented. So it's on Facebook and YouTube. It's on Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, I don't know how smart they are. I think some people are smarter than other people. Like, I mean, it's the same with everything. I think there's some experienced people in the department and some people that aren't, but I don't actually know personally. I've never had any positive or negative interactions with the department. So
I just wondered.
I've got a license. And you do your...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty fastidious on paperwork. Like you're meant to track how many eggs you've got in the incubator, and then when they hatch, you've got to put them, you've got to change and all that. And a lot of people are pretty lazy with that. Like they just do it whenever. But like I do it within 24 hours. I always keep it up to date because I'm like, oh, if they come around, I just want it to be perfect because, you know, like every lizard we own here has its own name, and my daughter or my daughters would be really, really pissed off if someone came and took our bearded dragons. You know, so I can't risk being lazy, you know, on that stuff. Yeah. So I don't. You know?
I guess that's one good thing. The way you were explaining the permit system, all that, it does cause people to at least try and be better at record keeping than what most of us are here in the U.S. And in the U.S., I mean, I keep very few records. I mean, I know in my head what I have, but when people are like, "What all do you have?" Snakes. I don't like. I'd have to sit down and count and go through each cage, rack, and tub, and I'm like, "What is that?" But in my head, like I can tell you what I got. It just takes a while.
Yeah, so we have to have what we've got as adults, what we've got as babies, what eggs are in the incubator, and the number has to be up to date. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that definitely does not happen here.
Yeah.
It's like a nerd's paperwork dream.
So Darren Watson asked, what predatory mammals do you have aside from dingoes and Tasmanian devils? But Tasmanian devils would be in Tasmania.
Yeah, so they're only in Tasmania. There's no wild predator mammals, dingoes. Well, we have foxes, but they're not supposed to be here introduced. There are some predatory like marsupials, but they're just like sort of like small foxes, you know. They're not really, and they actually get predated on by the foxes. So yeah, we don't mammals, big scary mammals.
That's why you have monitors. That's monitors filled that niche. Although they are.
Yeah, we don't have any. We don't have any. You know, lions, tigers, or bears. You know.
Oh my.
So what type of? Because obviously the foxes are invasive.
Red foxes.
If they are red foxes, okay.
Anywhere British people have been, you got red foxes.
Yeah,
because they love to hunt them.
I was just going to say, was it for hunting?
They let out rabbits for some reason. The rabbits went crazy, so then they thought, "Oh, I know how to fix that. We'll let out foxes."
But biological things have always helped fix problems.
Yeah,
that's always been the fix.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Gotcha.
We do get like feral cats. We have wild dogs here, but they're all invasive. I don't think there's anything that's native that is supposed to be.
That's because Australia is because I teach biology, so it's a very interesting thing if you want to look at evolution, because it is the most fucked up giant island when it comes to evolution. You have two mammals that lay eggs, which is the weirdest thing. You've got all these marsupials that are found pretty much just there, except for a small handful of them found in South America and North America. Your large predatory animals are lizards, giant lizards, and then everything there can kill you. So it's a very interesting collection of animals when you compare it to other places, because islands always have a weird evolutionary thing that happens. Like Madagascar, it's the only place you find lemurs, right? So, but Australia is a giant island that broke off and then went on its own path for evolution, and you end up with things like kangaroos, which or koalas, which are not cute and cuddly like everybody likes to think they are.
That's right.
Australia has no land tortoise.
We have echidnas,
Echidnas are cool. Echidnas.
We talked about those in class.
The echidna and the platypus laying
talked
eggs.
about both of
weird,
those.
Weird egg laying mammals.
I don't even teach science.
We talk about them. Although every time a kid sees that, goes, "Isn't that a porcupine?" No, it's not a porcupine.
Yeah. One of my kids actually knew about echidnas. It was really cool. And I asked him, I said, "So how do you know all this?" He's like, "I read a book from the library." I was like, "Very cool, man. Very cool."
The platypus is neat because the males have the venomous barbs on their back legs. So not only do they lay eggs as females, but the males are venomous. It's a weird animal.
Yeah. They're not good if you run over them. They pop your tires.
Oh my God.
That's kind of like our armadillos.
I was just going to say,
if you drive over armadillos, they'll jump up into your car when you drive over them.
Oh, God.
And they'll mess up your car.
Yeah, my wife hit one. We think she actually hit a one that had already been hit, like a dead one, but punctured all the sides of the tires. Like,
Jesus,
it cost like $1,000.
Oh
so,
gosh,
that is crazy. I did not think that they were that sharp. Like, I didn't.
I didn't think so either. I could, she had 2 flat tires. We couldn't work out what it was. We're like, what are these funny marks? And it was at night time. She said, "Oh," and then we worked it out. We're like, "Oh, you've hit a echidna." Like. Pulling the things out of the tire, wreck the tires, like wreck.
Do you think they would just snap those? It wouldn't.
Jeez.
Although I ran over a thing of keys once, and the keys went straight through a tire.
Oh, that was brutal.
So
that was when we found out that the cops in the area were garbage.
So bearded dragon. I want to talk about bearded dragons because they are very different, I think, in America versus what y'all have over there.
Yeah. We have more genetic diversity. Some states in Australia, you're still allowed to take from the wild or can get a permit to take from the wild. So we're always adding new genetic diversity into our collection. You hear of things in America like the animals are smaller. There's genetic issues like underbites and all sorts of weird things going on. We probably get less of that because we've got more diversity here. When I show people, one of my male bearded dragons, they're like, "Oh my God, it's so big." So maybe ours keep a bit more size because we've got that genetic diversity, I guess. But there's some amazing color mutations and stuff in America because you've line bred them for so many years. You can really narrow in on colors. We probably don't have the really strong colors that you've got over there because we don't line breed them as hard.
But we treat it as one species. Like that, it's not. I think in America, it's looked as bearded dragons are bearded dragons. They are the species of bearded dragon. But in Australia, you have several different species, or at least subspecies and locales of bearded dragons. It's not all the same.
So we have central beard. So what you guys call a bearded dragon is a central bearded dragon in Australia. But then there's easterns here as well, which are Barbata. But they're not really in captive collections here. Like we don't really keep those. But you guys have a few of them, and then you guys are hybridizing those into your centrals, I think, to give them more size and to make them more robust. But we don't need to do that to our centrals because they're big and robust anyway. So, it's definitely different, Yeah.
I remember
but we still have all the mutations here. And again, like for example, whiplets, right? Whiplet mutation was produced in a small captive collection in South Africa because they were line breeding and they made the mutation and they called it whiplet, which is South African for white lightning. It's a South African mutation of a central bearded dragon. But there's people in Australia with whiplets in their collection now, right? So They may have Pringle canned them. They may have Pringle canned them way back in, you know. And the same with zeros. Like the zero mutation was produced in America, but we've got zeros here, you know. So still stuff getting in and out. I don't know how, but it is. But you know, so we have hypo, we have trans, we've got zero, we've got whiplet, and then we've got, you know, just our general color, you know, different colors and stuff. But definitely, I think we're behind America in the strong color look of them because you guys line breed more.
But genetically, you have a stronger lizard than we do.
Probably, I think so.
I would think so.
I think so, but I don't know. So I wouldn't want to say that for sure. But I speak to a lot of, you know, I like social media, so I speak to a lot of American keepers of bearded dragons, and I think our dragons are a bit bigger and a bit more robust than an American dragon.
What I'm curious about, are your zeros, because that's a recessive, are they as big as the, like, I guess, more dominant genes?
It's a recessive, so you just breed it with an Australian bearded dragon, make it big, and then breed them back together and make big zeros. Yeah, so yes, they are, I guess. Yeah.
They seem to be way smaller here overall, and it's probably because the original recessives were small.
Yeah, so my het zeros are big. My visual zeros are smaller.
Okay.
But then but because I've bred them for a few seasons, I've got a male visual zero who is like 55 centimeters. Do you want me to work that out for you?
I can Google it. I got you, Luke. You keep doing you.
He'd be 55 centimeters from head to tail. What's that in inches?
That is 21.6 inches. It's
a good size.
Yeah.
And that's a male zero, normal scale. So he's massive. His dad's bobbing his head at me as we speak.
I just noticed the cages behind you.
You can't breed me. So the zeros, we do find they're a little bit smaller, but we're trying to breed them to other bigger animals and make them bigger. But that's happening already.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah.
What's your
it's recessive. Recessive only takes you 2 seasons. You know, it's not too bad. Bearded dragons will breed. Oh, they won't all breed the first year, but some will. I know in America, a lot of people say, "Oh, you shouldn't breed them in the first year," blah blah blah. But it's more a size and a sexual maturity thing. I think it's nothing to do with the time. I think it's to do with the size and the genetic. You know, I've got animals that'll breed year one. I've got animals that won't. You know, and that's just every anim's different. So I just go with the animal. I don't worry about the size. But yeah, our dragons are pretty cool. Yeah, pretty big. Yeah.
The blue tongues, I've always wanted a blue tongue. And at some point I want a northern. I love the way the northerns look, the size, the reds and the oranges you get in the northerns. In the United States, we get a ton of
So I'm going to stop you. We don't get red and yellow and orange northerns here, right? Like that's not, because that's abnormal too, and that again that's your line breeding. So you've line bred them to get the color.
Oh,
that's
really?
Not how that's not how they look. Like they're brown. You know?
Well, see, the majority of what we have here are the ones from was it New Guinea or whatever. All the import ones come out of there, and those all they're all like this bluish gray color, and the tons are still imported. Yeah. But the northerns here are definitely more colorful.
So in blue tongues. So look, there are some newer mutations that have come out in the last 2 or 3 years that a few of the big keepers are working on. So I won't speak for those, but like let's say the common mutations in Australia that we get are hypermelanistic and albino, which came from eastern blue tongues, not from northerns. They're
Gotcha.
They're eastern mutations. And then in northerns we got white northern, which is what also known as hypo, and anery, which is like an axanthic sort of thing. And so that's what started in northerns. And then, you know, when people were first breeding albinos and hypers, I think they were having trouble with them being not very robust, actually very, very, very poor quality animals. And so people, it took a long time to get them good in Eastern only. And there are some Eastern only hypers and Eastern only albinos that are great quality now. But a lot of people bred them with Northerns, took the recessive gene, flipped it over into Northern, bred it, made bigger, robust animals. So I could get 2 albino skinks out, right? One looks like an albino skink, but it has a full Kimberley Northern pattern all over it and is a big, massive female.
Yeah.
And then I can get another female out that just looks like an Eastern albino. Yep. And they're both albino blue tongues. They're both the same, but, one is full-on Eastern, never had any Northern blood put into it, and one is a Northern that has somewhere along the line had the albino gene flipped over, but she's very Northern now. She might be 5. She might be 4 or 5 seasons, as in, genetic runs down Northern. So when the albino was put in was such a long time ago, so she looks like Northern, but she's got the albino gene in her. You know what I mean?
I saw one. Dave Kaufman did a video not that long ago at one of the shows, either here or in Canada. I think it was in the U.S., but it was a white blue tongue. I don't think it was albino, but it was white.
That's white Northern. That's the hyper. You want to see one?
Sure.
I was going to say, I just found it. I've been Googling pictures because I'm like, what does all this look like? This is what I do for our podcast.
They're colored sausages.
I love blue tongue skinks.
But I love blue tongue skinks.
I really do.
I'm not saying I don't like colored sausages.
Whoa, watch out, Steven.
Okay.
Oh, see, that's
Like
awesome.
Oh, that's super cool.
And see, I saw that in the video that Dave had, and I'm like, well, that definitely didn't come from the U.S.
Yeah, so that's a white Northern. So he's a male Northern blue tongue.
See, I missed the black one that you took out earlier before we got online.
See
Melanistic. That's the best.
So I'm looking, the red eyes, like they just weird me out a little bit, but I do like this. I like this one. Yeah.
Oh, that looks awesome.
It's just,
We gotta look around our phone here. Sorry.
So vicious.
I need a blue one.
I've been telling you.
Cool.
Yeah, but all the ones I can afford are the
you want
cost
are
more.
difficult to find.
They're not difficult to find. They just cost more.
Well,
Yeah.
get your snakes downstairs to start making some babies. I mean, they're in my closet. So.
We can't hear Luke. He's talking, but I can't hear him.
Uh-oh.
Luke.
But the skink's awesome.
The skink is awesome.
It is.
We can at least see the white skink.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Sorry, I hit the mute on the top of my mic.
So,
So,
hit the mute with the skink.
so
Look
yeah,
how
that's normal.
Sweet.
Normal eyes. Yeah, but white,
Gorgeous.
not albino.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's. I need a skink.
I'm down for it, man.
Well, they eat dog food.
I know.
Yeah, they're omnivores, so it's really cool.
So,
Well, and you can. It's going to sound horrible, and people are going to hate me for it, but you can keep them in racks too. And
I keep them in racks. Yeah, I keep
you're a
them in
horrible
racks,
person, Luke. Horrible person.
So-
Take your animals away from you.
I keep them. I keep a mixture. So I keep some in racks and I keep some in enclosures. I've got some blue tongues that in an enclosure, even if I deck it out with lots of stuff, lots of place to hide on it, won't eat.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
won't
snakes
eat.
will do that too.
Will not eat. Put him into a rack, eats. And I've got the reverse. I've got a male that in a rack, he just rubs his nose, won't eat, just hates life. Put him in an enclosure, he's the best skink ever. So I think the enclosure versus rack thing is about the individual's personality of the animal, and it shouldn't be like a hard and fast rule.
Hey, stop trying to use reason here.
That's how I do it.
Thing.
So I mix it up a bit. I start with them in racks as babies because I can look after more. I can keep them, temperature control. It's very easy. As they get bigger, I give them a chance in enclosure. If they like it, they hate it, they go back to rack. I move them around a bit, and so on and so forth.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've got a blue tongue in this enclosure, and I open the door here, and she sticks her head out and watches me work on my computer all day. but she wants to be in the enclosure. I put her in a rack. She's very unhappy, But yeah, that's about knowing your animal. I think the problem is people have such large collections they don't actually know their individual animals. That's the thing about keeping lizards, I guess, compared to keeping snakes is every tub or enclosure. So every blue tongue animal gets their enclosure cleaned every day in my house. So I spend 2 hours most nights. I go through every single enclosure. Every enclosure gets done. New water, remove poops, do whatever, Every animal has a name, So they're all named, so I just showed you that male. His name's Winter. The boy I showed you earlier, his name's Shadow. They've all got names. So, we have like a connection with them. I've got lizards that I've had for a few years that, I bought them specifically for a breeding program and they won't breed. They're just not in, they're just, they're not the right animal for breeding. But we've named them. So like my daughters won't let me get rid of them.
I was just about to ask. So I know earlier you said you had kids. How old are your children, if you don't mind me asking?
So we've got 4 children. My oldest son just turned 16. I've got a 13-year-old son, a nearly 2 13s. Sorry, 30-year-old son, 13-year-old daughter, but they're like nearly a year apart.
Gotcha.
And then a daughter who's in.
I'm assuming they're at least 9 months apart. I would guess.
Yeah. And then a 10-year-old daughter. So.
Okay. So were you naming animals before you had the kids in your collection, or did the names come because you've mentioned several times that your kids are very involved with a lot of your animals?
No, I've only really been big into reptiles. The kids were old enough to be into it anyway.
Gotcha.
I haven't been keeping for longer than they've been alive. But no, we've always named them. Like it's just they're pets, Yeah,
and
they're not a commodity. They're not like stocks. We're not just in comes an animal, out goes an animal. All that sort of stuff. I had a male het hyper male blue tongue a couple of seasons ago, and I don't need him. I've got a male visual hyper who, he drops sperm plugs in his enclosure 4 times a day, right? He's the most virile. He's a very virile animal, right? So a male het for the same gene, he's actually not very useful, right? So I decided to sell him. I'd sold him online, and then before I'd even done the transaction, someone else sent me a photo of my lizard and said, "Oh, do you think I should buy this?" And the guy was buying it and flipping it. I just went, no deal. I'm not selling it. It's not happening. Cancel the transaction. I kept the thing. It was 2 years ago. I just said, I'll name it and I'm keeping it. I'm not. That's just not what I'm about. No, it's not for me.
We've talked about that before. How so many people will. Is it I can't ever say that word.
Anthropomorph.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and I feel like with lizards and tortoises, there's more of an attachment to a human.
Like I was saying before,
I
think everything with legs has more personality,
Well, I think the problem also with snakes is they can't show, there's no facial features that change. Like a lizard, like it can look different. It can blink its eyes. The blinking its eyes is a big thing.
Yes. Like some of them look hostile. Some of them do not.
So like I am definitely guilty of thinking that my snakes.
Oh my god!
Oh, there's the melanistic one.
So beautiful.
Very cool.
Yeah. So this is
for
Shadow.
all of our listeners.
Yeah. So so it's a hypermelanistic. Because you turned up the melanin, you get the black, but you get this, which is
red
what
belly.
So cool.
Really neat.
That's
like
the cool
a dragon.
The belly.
Yeah.
It's like a red belly black snake with legs.
Yeah.
Look at how
but
chilly.
Yeah, this is the very virile male. So, yeah. So he does. I don't really need that. I don't really need the hyper hets.
He's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love how he's just like chill, like it's cool. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't ask him how much it cost there versus how much it cost here.
I don't want to know.
Yeah,
Don't tell
no.
me.
Yeah.
It'll just depress
No,
me.
if we were in Australia, we could probably get one.
Ugh. Ugh.
I'm curious how the market is there, because if you have less people, like how is selling to a home market?
Yeah. Oh, look, it's still COVID definitely helped. You know, more people want pets and stuff like that. But in my state, like I live near Melbourne, which is our big city here in Victoria. There's probably 5 dedicated pet stores that focus on fish and reptiles. So it's pretty popular, and it's not hard to sell them, and just the pricing's different. Do you know what I mean? So I guess with blue tongues, you know, they range anywhere from a normal blue tongue maybe being $100 in a pet shop to, you know, like Shadow, the hypermelanistic ones. You know, I would sell my hypermels for about $1,500.
And is that like
In America, I think they're 15 grand.
Oh, I know what they are here. Yes, I'm aware. But like when you say 1,500,
It's roughly the same.
I was going to say, what's the exchange rate?
Oh, so I think our dollar's about 65 to 70 US cents. So it's lower. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So
but when you say
1,500
15, you're talking 1,500.
Yeah, but it's not like a peso. Like it's not like
right.
15,000
probably
pesos is $5.
a thousand US.
My God.
Yeah. 1,500 Australian is probably 1,000 US.
You could have a black
Big
black
difference.
one.
Yeah. And then bearded dragons, you know, anywhere from, you know, $200 or $300 for the normal ones up to, you know, $1,500.
Okay, see, that's where it's funny because here you can get normal ones for like $15.
Can you
Yeah, so-
really?
Yeah.
I've never really looked.
I wouldn't even wholesale them for that. Yeah.
Although they probably wholesale for. I mean, they go cheap here.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
so
look,
many
I
people
make-
have them.
Yeah, so me and my wife, I really shouldn't say me. The bearded dragons is my wife's project more than me. I help her obviously, but you know, I shouldn't take all the credit. She probably makes 300 to 400 babies a season. We breed.
Damn.
And we wholesale most of those. To be fair, this year we might sell a few more privately because obviously it's more money in it that way, but it's also a lot more work. You got to keep them for longer, etc. Then you got to deal with people, you know. Don't love that.
So is this all a hobby for you, or have you gone?
Oh yeah, it's a hobby. Yeah, in Australia, I mean, there's just not the population to support this as a full-time job. I think, look, there are a couple of people in Australia that I think would be very close to it being full-time, but only a couple. And yeah, that's I'd rather have a full-time job. Yeah. Yep. So this is where I work from though. Like I have a full-time job that I work from home. So where I'm sitting, I've just logged off for 2 hours. I've logged off work. This is where I work. So,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. So I just told the company I work for today, I'm off from 11 to 1. And,
There you go.
and yeah, I just, So it is sort of good. Blue tongue shit smells too. So you like, I know when they go, so I can just get up and clean it. I don't have to come in at night time after being away all day and find stuff I've got to clean, you know, like, I can sort of spot clean all day, you know. I'll just do it and go, oh, who did that? You know,
That helps a lot. Lizards, they seem to, it's every day.
it's a lot more work. Yeah.
So I want to hit our question that we posted this week for you. It was, what is your favorite social media platform to use for the reptile hobby and why? And I'm very interested in this. I think a lot of the difference in the answers comes to age. I think certain ages. I think I finally reached that age where I'm like, I'm not willing to learn new stuff. And I need stuff. I can only do the stuff I can do.
I have Facebook. That's all I got.
So I'm gonna go through a couple. I know I'm gonna have Ashley answer because Ashley did put her answer in here. But a couple. Our friend Ryan Cox says currently none. Even groups in the direction of clickbait and arguing. Caught myself going in a toxic spiral, and I had to quit looking at stuff. I'll just stick to group chats which I get. I guess let me go into this. I see a lot of people that get upset with social media and they have to take breaks. I don't get that part. I've never been so bothered by social media that it bothers me outside of when I'm typing on social media and then walk away from it. Like, it doesn't bother me that much.
I can talk about that later. Yeah, I had something really bad.
Okay. Ashley, you want to go ahead and say what you want me to read it, or do you want to go ahead and say what you think?
I mean, you can read it.
Ashley Howdy said, favorite was YouTube. A video search engine pops up, and Google can be for information and entertainment. Necessary because y'all have the business. Facebook, without the pages and the business suite and the groups, the social media wouldn't be what it is. And then easiest is Instagram, because we go back to having to deal with people. You don't have to deal with people on Instagram. Reaches a lot of people, fun with photos, but ultimately limited and should be part of the entire social media campaign, not the sole platform, which I think is, you hear a lot of people now, they're like, we sell only on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, but you kind of need to have, not everybody's on Instagram. It doesn't make sense to just be on Instagram.
Yeah, correct. It's
I don't
not
have an Instagram.
necessarily the easiest way, but
I mean, I imagine Instagram's nice for you because you can post a picture and then just walk away. There's not like all the messaging that you probably get as much on Facebook through all the business stuff.
Well, Instagram is very interactive. It's just that you reach different people on Facebook and YouTube. You reach entirely, and we're a product-based business, so it's rather different. It's not just creating content and having, I guess, producing animals and breeding and following that. But as a product-based business, it's always comes down to the question, which one would you give up? And it would definitely be Instagram first. I prefer Instagram personally, but as far as a business aspect, Facebook has so many more tools for a business. It's really difficult to do it without it. Now, the ad platform and everything. But if you're actually just sharing and you're creating content, YouTube and Instagram are very good with that.
Yeah, and there's like different personalities to each. I mean, the people who reach out, on each platform, they're different people. It's not the same ones each time. It's not like one person is seeing you on every platform.
Yeah.
They're all unique kind of people, and you can sort of tell who comes from where when. So it takes all of it for sure.
They're all painful in their own way.
I guess because I keep up with so much electronically for work that by the time I get home, like, I can just keep up with Facebook. Like, I didn't get a TikTok for the longest time because I know myself and I know I'm going to get sucked into that rabbit hole and I'm never going to stop. And then they put reels on Facebook. And so now those suck me in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I still refuse to get a TikTok because if it's worth watching, someone will text it to me. And that's exactly what happens. I can't.
Of course. Let's see. Our friends at D&T Retake said none, but we favor Instagram. Seems to be less bashing and just more comments. Isaac Kyle said YouTube and Facebook both allow me to get my inspiration for tank builds, and it's fun learning tips and allows me to connect with other keepers so it feels less isolated. Let's see. Ryan Goslow said Instagram is the only platform he uses for reptiles. He barely uses Facebook at the best of times, but I think he's younger. So I think that's also a thing. I feel like Facebook may be for older people. Like,
I'm sure.
I say older. I mean, like, if you're in your mid 30s, you're probably using Facebook because you used it when it came out.
Late 30s.
You were there when it came out, and you've just stuck with
Use
it.
that L word. It's okay.
mid to late. I'm closer to mid.
No.
In my head. And then I had. Let me go to all the ones.
Feeling my age today.
There were a lot from Luke that Luke sent me, and I wanted to read some of the ones that got posted that Luke saw. Robbie's Reptile says YouTube because I can upload my full quality video. Mason Barnes says I think Instagram is most important as far as building a platform is concerned. He's the one that has the ton of followers, right, Luke?
Yeah, he's got more than me. He's got 100K on Insta. Yeah.
Small Town Exotic says Instagram, quick and easy. Cichlids Australia. I need to check that one out just because I like cichlids. Instagram because I found you guys on here, so that's talking about for you. You had more people say Instagram on yours.
I asked on Instagram.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That'll do
Probably
it. That'll
cheats.
do it.
Yep.
So I know you have Instagram, but what is your preferred? Is Instagram your preferred, or is that just?
Yeah, I like it. I like Instagram. I just like the style of content. I like making reels. I like doing the videos and that sort of thing. I like short form videos on Instagram, so that's what I focus on. And my page blew up on Instagram, so that's sort of the one that I do the most work on. So I like it. I don't mind Facebook, but I'm not in any Facebook groups anymore. I hate Facebook groups. They're bad. So I'm not in any Facebook groups. I certainly don't comment or look at any Facebook groups, even if I'm still a historical member. I just stay away from them because it's just all bullshit. So I have reptiles and I keep and I breed and I do all that because it's fun. And so I want to do social media and photos and videos because it's fun. So that's why I don't do Facebook groups and that sort of thing. I'd like to do YouTube because I'd really like to do some long form videos on YouTube. But I just haven't made that leap yet because of the time and the effort I need to put in to do them at the quality I'd want to. Yeah. Because I think my reels are of a fairly high quality. I mean, I do high quality video. I do a lot of editing. I put a lot of text in and that sort of thing. So I don't just like shoot a video on my phone and just put it up with music. I edit it, I put it in the software, I make it, I clip it all to match the beat. I do a lot of work. So that's why I like using Instagram because I feel like I get reward for the effort I put into the reels, So that's why my preference is Instagram. And there is a bit less of the Facebook group stuff where everyone's fighting with each other. That's not for me.
It's too much. It sucks the fun out of it.
Well, I remember I listened to another podcast that you were on. You were talking about how the bearded dragons, how you keep them on dirt. And we personally also keep ours on loose substrate. Oh, no, they're not dead.
Yeah, so there is the you shouldn't keep your bearded dragon on loose substrate. You should have a couch in their enclosure.
Some photos.
You should
all the
You should dress them, put glitter on their nails.
So it's funny
walk
that
them
you
around
say
in
this.
a pram.
Yeah, I've been banned from groups before, and I
By the way,
that.
pram for our Americans is a
baby stroller.
A baby stroller.
Stroller, yeah.
So I have a small zoo in my classroom. I'm a zoology club sponsor for our elementary school, and I have a leopard gecko who's on. I put her on Aspen.
Yeah.
She's a little over 2 years old. She's done great on it her whole life. I've never had an issue with it. But I had a parent, I forgot to tell you about this, at open house. And she was like, yours doesn't eat the bedding. And I was like, no, never had an issue with that before. And she was like, we were told. And I was like,
PetSmart problem?
I have no clue. There were 40 million people waiting to talk to me. I did not have time to talk to her about that. But
maybe that's why we genetically have better dragons, because the ones that eat the substrate die.
That's like the same thing.
Survival.
We get rid of them. We get rid of the dumb ones.
Yes.
So are you telling me in the wild? So you're in Australia.
Did you know Central Australia is covered in puppy pads?
It's covered in puppy pads, paper towels, and tile, right? There's just tile and paper towels.
Oh my god.
Well,
so anyway, so I don't do that. And the other thing too, I had a reel. I've got a reel on Instagram that has had 92 million views.
Oh, wow.
And so that really blew my page up. Pretty crazy. But so it is a video of a bearded dragon shedding and my wife peeling all the shed off.
Oh, people lost their shit on that, I bet.
I had people telling me that that by peeling off the shed, which is dead skin cells, right, that the bearded dragon will get skin cancer.
What?
Right?
Like that was a fact. Not connected.
That is not
that was a fact.
That is not at all how this works.
I had all sorts of stuff go on. I had people screenshot it and put it on Reddit and start Reddit things about me. People screenshot it and do their own Instagram videos about me. Like they came for me, right?
Oh my god.
And like they really came. And I was just like, whoa. And it was about 3 weeks. So I'd go to bed, I'd get up in the morning and I'd have like 300 comments on the post. And half of them were like, you're an animal abuser, you're a piece of shit, you're fat, go and kill yourself, you know. And so
oh my God.
for weeks I was deleting and blocking people. And then but then they were like making fake accounts and coming harder. And so I got some advice off someone who was helping me with my social media stuff. And she just said, unblock everyone, let them say whatever they want. Just say, just say thanks very much for your opinion. Just let them give it to you. Just ignore it, whatever. So I did. I unblocked everyone. I just let them go to town on me. So I think it's got 3.5 million comments now. 92 million views.
So now it causes it to pop up because of the way
because they're just pushing it, which is great. But probably, so let's say I've had 92 million views. I've had 5 million likes or something. It's about 3,000 people that hate me, out of 5 million, So when you work at the percentage, it's very small. So who cares?
And they don't really, and the thing is, they don't really hate you.
That's just my
personality. They don't hate you. They want to say negative things about you, but they don't actually know you. And they would say that about anybody else that posts anything.
I don't like when people don't like me. I can't handle it.
Oh, I love when people don't like me. I fucking love it.
This is why this is our opposite right here. Like, I'm like, what do you mean you don't like me? What did I do to offend you? How can I make this better? But on something like that,
they don't hate you. They feel the need to have to be right.
I've learned a lot from you, and I've mellowed a lot in our 18 years together. But
I deleted the reel for 24 hours. So if you delete a reel on Instagram, it goes into an archive. You've got 30 days to re-put it back. I deleted quite a few. I had a few reels of the shedding that I deleted for like 24 hours because like I needed a break.
I 100% get that.
It was really hard on me, actually. Like, it was full on. Like, I was a real pussy about it. It really broke me. Chris Eaton would tear me one if he heard this. But yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. I was like, this is no good. And my friend Colin Schumark, who's the Aussie snake catcher guy I'm friends with, and a few other people, like, just put them back up. Fuck these people. And so I just put them back up and I just wore it. But my page went from 20,000 followers on Instagram to 70. So I've got 70,000 followers on Instagram now. And that's great. So bad luck,
But those are the kind of people that also are the ones that heard how to take care of their reptile from one person or one source. And now that's the gospel. It's the same ones that you just said you kept a bearded your blue tongues in racks, and they would hate you for it because they heard one person say they should keep them in cages, but they never they'd skip right past the part where you're like, I also keep them in cages. So,
look, I mean, I think I'm probably slightly closer to knowing what a bearded dragon's care should be living on the same continent as where the bearded dragons come from. Just compared to the lady who lives in Alabama with one dragon and paints its nails.
Hey, she has a hammock for that dragon?
Yeah.
It has its own Instagram page.
Hey, I've got hammocks.
Sure. I'm sure that nail polish was not tested on animals either.
It is right now.
It's tested on animals now, yeah.
Yeah, so look, I had to get over that, but it was pretty hard. It was pretty hard.
God.
Like,
when
it blew up. Like, yeah.
Well, you're human. That's the thing. Is like it is just because it's the internet. Yeah, you can ignore it. And but I mean, you're these people are talking to a human on the other end, and it's like just because you're typing on a keyboard and you don't see the other person doesn't mean that they're not there. And that's
most of these people would never say that shit in person. Ever.
No.
That's the problem with social media, and that's I mean, on a smaller scale, we get a lot of hate and we get a lot of love too. And it comes down
why
to
do y'all get hate?
Have time for the haters. Oh, you have no idea.
Because they're successful.
Well, not necessarily. It's people that do have differing opinions, but they don't know how to express their differing opinion in a proper way. It's because they're not talking to you face to face. So they say things that are extremely hateful.
I would love to tell you that that's going to get better, but with this COVID generation that we've got right now, it is not.
Well,
it's only going to get worse.
For the most part, you don't have time for it. Those are people that sit there and they mull it over. And when you see something like that, it'll sting, but you just move on because you have better things to do. You have more people to educate. It's the positive. So you want to focus, or a lot of social media, and that's why a lot of people hate Facebook, and why I've been banned from many groups, especially since we've started this business. And I used to admin a bearded dragon group, and I actually got ousted there because I used loose substrate, and all the ladies in Alabama said that their tile that was making their bearded dragons, have atrophied muscles. It was great for them, but don't let me go down that road. For the most part, social media is an excellent thing. We want to focus kind of on the negatives because it stings, but there's a lot of good positive stuff out there. And if you just keep going and you don't focus on it, people are always going to talk shit. That's a common thing, and it's just because they're behind a screen.
Well, that's the funniest one I find was the ball python group that kicked Kabilka out and basically told him he didn't know what he was talking about.
Exactly.
Like, really? The number one guy in the hobby. Okay.
Recently, you started a positive Facebook group.
Yeah, for our old school district.
So it sounds like you might need to do the same for reptiles.
So our old school district, there was a watch group for that school district, and every post that group ever did was nothing but negative stuff about the district. As a teacher,
it was completely anonymous. Like they
would never tell you who they were.
Have no idea who these people.
But as someone who taught in that district, it would piss me off to watch them just like try and cause more issues within the district. I'm like, you're not helping anything. And yeah, some of these are actual news stories, but most of this was just to piss people off.
It's all very clickbaity.
And they had it as a profile, not as a page. So I took their exact name and turned it into a Facebook page and started posting nothing but positive.
And
stuff.
the name of the page is Positive. Watch.
For the version,
and it has like 500 members now, and like it's like, but all of the other teachers in the district who've always had issues with this have joined the group, and now everybody's blowing it up with like everything positive from the school district in Louisiana. And I'm like, we're not in Louisiana anymore. Let's go.
Well, that's why I think so. The old message board forum, the way that works. So in Facebook, anybody can make a group, and that's kind of the problem. Is that you end up in this group that if you don't believe in this one thing, everyone will attack you because they only bring in the people that believe that one thing. Whereas the old forums, if you went to the forum, everyone had to go share that same forum. If it was the King Snake Boa forum, everyone that had boas had to be in there. No matter what your opinion was, it was the only forum.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw this out there. When did the forums disappear?
Facebook.
Yeah.
In the mid 2000s when Facebook hit it. Because
You're
everybody
like 20 years ago.
Yeah, everybody liked the instant being able to.
You're really aging yourself tonight.
Everybody still liked forums. Everybody that did forums loved forums. The problem was,
like Luke was saying, there's still Reddit.
Yes, I've never been on Reddit. I only went on Reddit because someone sent me a link to the Reddit thing about me, and I was like,
I don't know how Reddit works.
I don't know how it works either.
It's a big forum.
They screenshotted my reel and put it on there, and started a Reddit forum thing about go and report this guy for animal abuse. Because I really abuse them. So, I mean,
how dare you?
Yeah. No, I peel shed for likes.
Well, so what's funny is you'll post that, right? And then someone like Jay Brewer at Prehistoric Pets will post a video where he finger fucks a retic egg to pull a baby out of it, and the general public will go crazy over how awesome that is and how cool that is. I'm like, that's way fucking worse. It's so much worse than peeling dead skin off of this lizard.
Yeah, just also, you're damaging the scales underneath. You're hurting the bearded dragon. I'm not hurting.
It was already coming off.
Yeah. I mean, we're
trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like speeding up the process.
Well, it's like if I have a snake that's shedding, I can sometimes hold the snake and let it move through my hands, and the skin will come off. It's naturally going to come off. I'm not.
Our lizards are basically manicured. I work in here full time. I pick up their shit while it's still steaming. Right? It's like a goddamn. This is like an A grade. Like this is 5-star hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the total opposite of that, and that's probably why I got so hung up about it. I got so offended because I was just like, like
I
my whole life,
100% understand where you're coming
my
from.
life revolves around the care of the lizards.
Like James
And,
doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
what
I
the fuck
didn't
is
take
why
barking?
it
is she
well.
barking?
Our dogs.
Sorry, our dog was barking and I had to yell at him.
I don't know why.
So yeah, but anyway, I just got over that now. When people comment on there, I just say, "Oh, thanks very much," because every time they comment, I reply, and they reply back. So it's more interaction. It helps my algorithm. So I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much for your opinion. That's
Yeah,
fantastic."
keep going.
And then they're like,
Please
I'm
tell
like,
me more.
I'm like, "Thanks for watching," and they're like, "I didn't watch it, you animal abusing fucktard." And I'm like, "Oh, that's wonderful. Oh." I thank you for your opinion of me.
Kill him with kindness.
Yeah. And then so they just comment again and again. It's just great. It's like, yes, just go for it.
So I love when high school kids will tell me that I'm not their favorite teacher or they don't like me or that I'm mean. I'm like, yes, please give me more of that. I feel your hate. Bring it.
I don't like me either. Yeah.
What's all the kids? The other day or today, kids are like, why are we off on Monday? I don't know. They're like, what's special about it? I don't have to see you for an entire day.
The district loves us and they gave us a break.
That's what's special about it is you won't be there.
And I have 2 doctor's appointments.
I also love when kids are like, why do you teach kids if you don't like kids? Because they pay me to be here. That's why.
Such an asshole, man.
I like some kids. I just dislike more kids than I like. But it's not just kids. That's people in general.
Yeah.
Like I dislike way more people than I actually like.
This year,
And Facebook just magnifies those people. It brings them out of the woodwork so you can go, oh, that's the person I fucking hated. And I didn't even know them before this moment.
So yeah, my block list is now really small. I just leave them,
Yeah.
I have a couple of pages blocked because they're too much. I can't actually deal with them.
Yeah.
But I pretty much just the commenters, just let them go, leave them and let them be.
that is good life lessons.
It took a bit though. It took a lot to deal with. Yep.
Yeah.
We're
Well, that
all
is-
there.
Well, that is a big problem and I can tell you as someone who teaches children, teenagers are not notoriously known for being great with handling their emotions. But it has gotten worse.
You should try 8-year-olds.
It has gotten worse. And I think, I don't know if it was COVID or just the way that
100%. That is
I
my
don't know.
problem.
I don't
grade.
know. I don't think it's COVID. I think it's going to be like
It's the generation.
it's going to be the old man get off my lawn moment,
Yes.
but it's the way that people are being raised.
Yes.
Everyone's allowed to be offended, which you're allowed to be offended, but just shut the fuck up. It doesn't go be offended. Go be upset.
You don't have to tell
Oh.
everybody.
It's funny, the people that were commenting and attacking me, there was a really common theme when you went to their profiles and looked at even just their bio. You were like, you're all the same group of people,
Yes.
Yeah. You're protesting about stuff that is really not that important.
They're the ones that will announce when they're leaving a Facebook group.
Yes.
No one gives a fuck. No one cares. You don't have to announce you're leaving the Facebook group.
Yeah. Don't let the group hit you on the ass on the way out. See you later.
And then when you leave, you can't see the comments that people made on your post because you left the group. So
Well, most of those people
What's
probably
the
aren't
point?
actually leaving. They're just announcing that they're
They need attention.
basking in the glow. But yeah, that's what I always say. There's real hate in the world. We don't need to create hate. That's the problem with the social media.
the
But
world
you
needs
make
more
social
purple
media
people.
a good thing. You just
Well,
have to not worry about the haters.
So the three main ones we talked about YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and I think they all serve a great thing. And I think especially for y'all at Focus Cube, I think YouTube is great because it gives you a chance to do a long video about a product, how to use a product, how it works, all the different features. So it's great there. Facebook is great because it allows you to connect with customers and talk back and forth and do the things business-wise you need to be able to do. And I think Instagram is great because you can take a picture of a cage or a reel of your CNC machine cutting something and post that up and get people talking about it. And then they'll ask you stuff about it. But I think like Facebook is so important because it's almost become like Google. If someone wants to know something about business, they tend to go to Facebook and they type it in there and then they find their page and they find reviews and
Yeah, it is definitely the Google of social media. So is YouTube, but you're going there for strictly videos. sadly, Facebook is like, if you're, whether you like it or not, it's being a part of the groups and being a part of, I guess, the algorithm in Facebook is an important part. And it's a really great way to be able to communicate with people. They give you a lot of tools to do it. That's really fluid. So like with Instagram, I love Instagram. Personally, it's one of the best because it's, I think, visually, right?
Yeah.
And it's really fun because people are going there more for, I guess, pleasure. Now, people on Facebook may be going there to start a fight because they can. It's not necessarily very media based. It's, you can put your opinions and other stuff like that. So, like I said, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, but I think the whole social media should be a suite. You should use all of it. And use the one that you're most strong with, obviously. If you have a big following somewhere, you can always branch off from there.
Yeah, YouTube's like the great equalizer. I'm like, you'll find people from Facebook and Instagram. Like, we'll do the enclosure talk stuff, and somebody will find their enclosure on there, and I mean, they immediately seek it out. So you've got the Facebook crowd, you have the Instagram crowd, but both of those folks gravitate towards YouTube. So that's the like pivot of all of it.
I always forget you can leave comments on YouTube stuff.
Well, it's like a person who watches YouTube versus a person who comments on YouTube, I swear, are two different people. I'm like, I watch a ton of YouTube stuff, and I'm like, I've never thought to just tell anyone anything on there.
I do when I have to correct. When I correct like I watch a lot of fishing stuff, and sometimes there'll be reptiles and animal stuff, and they'll be wrong, and I will correct them. I can't.
Yeah, well, most of the stuff that I see is you've commented on it. It's really funny. I can find somebody who's arguing about a venomous versus non-venomous snake. I'm like, well, there's James. Tell him there's. That's how I find most of my stuff.
It's the teacher in you.
Yeah.
It is. That's my problem. I'm not. So a lot of people will see me correct something online, and they're like, "You're being a dick." I'm like, "I'm not being a dick. I just don't like you being wrong."
And it's not just you online, people. It's, if there's a TV show, he will pause it and bitch about it for a good 5 minutes before we can hit play and finish whatever.
I don't like it being wrong.
Whatever it is we're watching. It is not just you, internet. It is the world that he is out against.
We have had to stop our kid when she was younger. She would be in public at zoos and hear kids or hear adults say things wrong about animals.
Bad.
And she would want to correct the adult and be like, no, just stop. Just, in this case, let them be wrong.
She would just look at me and I'd be like, nope. And we'd have to keep walking. But there was one instance where we were at the National Zoo in DC, and I think we were like, it was sulcatas or galops or something. And they were talking about the turtles, and she was like 4.
Technically, it is a turtle.
She whipped her head. She goes, those are tortoises. I said, those are, because the kid got it wrong and we just let it slide. But then when the parent also got it even worse.
But Katie.
Shut up, James. Nobody asked your opinion.
Technically, they are turtles.
Well, needless to say, she was very polite when she corrected them on the species that they were currently looking at. But
which was a turtle?
I'm gonna throw my shoe at your face.
I don't want you to be wrong. Remember, we just had a conversation. I don't want you to be wrong.
You can't help it.
You can make your own corn dogs for dinner.
I can't. We have an air fryer. I did want to go back to one question. Amanda Reddy asked about your reptile expos over there.
Yeah.
How are those? I'm assuming y'all don't have the same kind of displays where we have just tons of little snakes and little deli cups and all, right? It's because that doesn't seem to be the rest of the world's way. Like, it's definitely not England. England can't stand the way we do shit, but they haven't been able to do that since 1776. So
I think I haven't been to a American Reptile Expo. I've only seen them online, but they look fairly similar. I mean, we have people have display cases and have all their snakes sort of the same. Probably not deli cups. Probably more like acrylic, displays.
Yeah. You don't have to have a ton of room per animal, right? There's no laws on that.
No, but no one's housing them uncomfortably.
Yeah.
Because people would, they'll be the same people that are complaining about my bearded dragon walking around. So that's pretty nicely set up. But yeah, they're much smaller, unfortunately. So we don't have Tinley. They're pretty small.
But is that good for business because it's a smaller show? Do you tend to sell well? Do you do shows?
I've never vended.
Gotcha.
So I might vend next year because we're hoping to have bigger production this year, and I might wholesale less and keep some back so I could vend. But I've never vended. I've only been to walk around and stuff.
Been on a walkabout.
They're fun. Yeah, they're fun. They're fun. I like them, So there's a couple in New South Wales that are really great that we've travelled up to There's one in Victoria every year that's really good, but they're not as often. So it's probably only like 3 or 4 a year in Australia.
In
they're
Texas,
not like
we have 3 or 4 a weekend.
Yeah, they're not like you guys herp shows and that, having them every week and stuff like that. We don't have that. So they are a good gathering as well. You can see other people in the hobby, catch up with people. So that's a big positive about them as well. They're socially great.
That's awesome.
That's why I like shows. Although the howdies don't come to shows anymore, so you don't get to be social with them.
We're lucky to be here. I'm excited to be able to see new faces besides our shop walls.
I thought you were gonna say besides Steven.
No. I enjoy it. We have
She's here for me,
better to look at.
She's not here for you. She's here for me.
That's
Let's
fine.
get it straight.
Again, I don't care if people dislike me. I'm okay.
I
with
do.
She just likes it.
That's fine. As long as you make me dinner, I don't care if you dislike me
I
either.
know.
Corn dogs, bro.
Yeah,
Corn
I
dogs.
keep hearing about these corn dogs.
Corn dogs.
I mean, they're individually wrapped in the box in the freezer. They're not even fancy.
We don't have corn dogs either.
What?
Really?
Oh, I'm not going to Australia. Fuck that.
No corn dogs.
No,
but you can eat Vegemite.
That's not a thing here. Yep.
So y'all traded corn dogs for Vegemite? That's a horrible trade.
You have hot dogs though, huh?
Yeah, we have hot dogs, but yeah, we
so
don't.
Just not
there's a lot.
corn
There's a lot
batter.
of good American. There's a lot of American stuff we don't have. We don't like. We have there was a big thing. Did you hear the big thing about the Pop-Tarts?
I saw the guy. Was it the guy sent you a bunch of Pop-Tarts, right?
Yeah. So on Chris Eaton's podcast, I talked about how my daughters. So there's 4 flavors of Pop-Tarts in the supermarket. That's it.
Fuck, there's
We've got
74 flavors.
Here.
Yeah. So we got 4 flavors, right? 4 basic flavors. And my daughters love TikTok. So they see all the American stuff on TikTok. And so I was talking about that on Chris Eaton's podcast and Benevolent Reptiles. He's got a cool page on Instagram. He does a whole heap of different reptiles, but mostly ball pythons and crested geckos. He saw that, messaged me and said, "Oh, I'm going to send you some Pop-Tarts. Give me your address." I'm like, "Okay." I sent him my address. Yeah, he sent me 40 flavors.
That's just one section of the aisle. That's not.
Yeah, he sent me he sent me a crazy amount. So we're still we're starting to finish some flavors now, which is good.
What are their favorites? I need to know.
They got s'mores.
S'mores is the best.
S'mores was popular. I think Boston cream pie was popular.
I haven't had that.
I think
Katie's
Boston,
weird. She likes the non-iced ones, which is just fucking horrible.
They're my favorite.
He didn't send us the shit flavors.
Thanks so much, Luke.
They're not shit flavors.
I like to put them in the toaster and then put butter on them.
Confetti, that's a good one.
The confetti ones are sweet.
They're
just
all
too sweet for me.
Yeah, my daughter only eats it if it's got sugar. So yeah, we toast all of them. How else are you gonna eat them?
Yeah.
So no. You have to put them in the freezer and eat them cold.
No.
I have a friend of mine who
Luke, don't
says
listen to her.
It's on the box. It tells you.
I don't give a shit what it says on the box.
We saw that on the box and actually laughed.
So apparently, it's a thing.
It's not a thing in this house. You have never done that.
Chocolate ones are the best if you freeze them. Apparently,
we thought that sounded funny, but no, we toast them.
Yes,
I do toast them.
Yes, that's how you should.
My daughter just eats them out of the foil packet.
That's how I did. Yeah.
Customs actually opened them, some of them, and checked. Yeah.
To make sure they were really Pop-Tarts.
They were really Pop-Tarts.
They probably wanted some of them.
Yeah, so I lost a couple because they'd been opened. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat them.
I don't know what it is. Pop-Tarts
by someone at Customs.
Pop-Tarts and Oreos. They come out with 10 new flavors a week. I don't know if y'all have a million flavors of Oreos over there.
2.
Oh no, we have 7 trillion flavors of Oreos.
No, so we only have So
Miloradovich, it's a tangent for. We always go back to food, Jason. At some point, we talk about food.
Yes, because it's always dinner time. But Luke, I know that you took a break from work.
Get back to work.
I don't want to keep you.
I appreciate it. No, that's cool. Thank you very much.
Get back to work, Luke.
By all means, we can keep talking about food, but I don't want you to get in trouble and be like, God, these damn Americans.
Fucking Americans. So if people want to check out you peeling skin off of your lizards, you horrible human
Yeah.
being.
So if you want to, if you would like to watch me abusing my animals, and also maybe watch some videos of feeding blue tongues dog food and eggs and all that sort of stuff. And Fuzzy Fox Pet Food, they're my sponsor.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
They're friends of mine, Fuzzy Fox Pet Food. So they make it's like Rapashi, but much better.
That's not a sponsor of mine, so I'll go with you. Yeah, they're much better than Rapashi.
Yes, it's Australian stuff, so it's pretty cool.
It's Australian. It's like a Foster's commercial. Australian for Rapashi.
We don't drink Fosters either. That's not a thing in Australia.
You don't go to Outback and drink Fosters?
No one drinks Fosters here. That's American. That's Australian beer for Americans.
Is there an Outback open at all in Australia?
Well, Outback Steakhouse?
Yes.
No, that's not a thing here.
Okay.
It's burned down weekly.
I just couldn't imagine someone opening one going, guys, come eat here. But it's weird because we have Texas Roadhouse, like Texas Steakhouse, like Roadhouse Steakhouse in Texas.
We don't have that either. Yeah. No.
It's weird to have in the state. Anyways.
But if you want to see me peeling skin off lizards and feeding them, Instagram is the best way. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's lizard morphs on everything, right?
Lizard morphs on everything. Yep. All one word. Lizard morphs on Instagram, one word. And you'll. I mean, I post a reel every day on Instagram.
I don't have that in me.
It's a lot of work. You do a great job.
I think I'm about a month. I think I'm about a month away from getting to 1,000 reels. So.
Oh wow.
That's a lot of work.
So that's cool. Yeah. So So I appreciate every follow I get. So please follow me on Instagram and I'll keep putting videos that you can hate me about on there.
We'll share them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the howdies. If people want to get a hold of you, don't
Focus Cute Habitats everywhere.
Go to the website. Order from the website. Don't call them.
We messaged very, very quickly. As far as phone calls, yes, we work in a very loud shop.
They are busy. They are busy people.
Always busy.
Their website tells you everything you need to know. You just have to do that weird thing called read.
All right, James. People want to get a hold of you.
Don't.
They want to get a hold of Robert. You can go to lsreptileracks.com.
We are the Reptile Gumbo podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and at gmail.com. We'll be back next week with somebody. I haven't figured it out yet, but we'll be back next week with somebody.
This is how we roll, guys.
I had someone at work ask me today, do you stress out about having to do you prepare a ton for your podcast? I was like, no, I just show up and start talking. It's preparing would not make this fun. That would be a job. I'm not doing that. He did
have like an outline for the first couple.
Yeah.
And he was like, it won't be an interview podcast. I don't want an interview podcast. And it turned into an interview podcast.
I don't know about
because you got cool people on like Luke.
I was about to say there's lots of really cool people out there.
Yeah.
And then there's the howdies.
Oh, you shush.
Not cool.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching.
You guys hang on.
Thanks for coming on. We will be back next week, hopefully with Robert. That is our goal. So good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.